There is a certain cruelty that pierces the soul more deeply than any weapon, and it comes not from strangers, but from those who dare to wound the innocent. Pride sits at the root of such cruelty. It is the voice that whispers, "I am untouchable. I can take, I can destroy, and no one can stop me." Pride blinds men and women to their own fragility. It deceives them into believing that their power is eternal, their influence unshakable, and their actions free from consequence. But God, who is not mocked, has always reserved his judgment for the proud, who lift themselves up by trampling the vulnerable. Think for a moment of the innocent ones, the quiet souls who give more than they receive, who love without demand, who trust without suspicion. They are not weak, though the world calls them so. They are not blind, though others think their kindness is naivety. They live with hearts unguarded, believing in goodness, giving without measure. And yet, such people often become the target of cruelty. Why? Because pride cannot stand humility. Darkness cannot tolerate light. Those driven by arrogance feel threatened by the very presence of the pure-hearted, for their innocence exposes the corruption of pride. But history, scripture, and life itself tell us this truth. The prideful may rise quickly, they may boast loudly, they may enjoy their moment of triumph, but they never stand for long. God himself resists the proud. He does not ignore the pain of the innocent, nor does he allow arrogance to go unpunished. He waits with perfect patience until the moment comes when their own pride becomes the very hammer that breaks them. Have you noticed how the proud seem untouchable at first? Their words carry weight, their influence stretches far, their plans seem to prosper. They wear arrogance like armor. But what they do not see is the cracks forming beneath their feet. Each cruel act, each lie spoken, each wound inflicted against the innocent becomes another fracture in the ground they walk upon. And when God moves, he does not need to strike with thunder or fire. He lets pride collapse under its own weight. The proud become prisoners of the very arrogance they celebrated. God has always defended the innocent. He hears the cry that is never spoken aloud. He collects the silent tears shed behind closed doors. He sees the heart that suffers quietly, never lashing out, never retaliating. And he acts, not always when we expect, not always how we demand, but always in his time, in his way. His justice is precise. His judgment is perfect. And when he breaks the pride of those who have caused harm, he leaves no doubt that it was his hand, not chance, that brought them down. So, if you have been wounded by those who walked in arrogance, if you have been mocked for your kindness, betrayed for your love, or trampled upon for your innocence, take courage. You are not forgotten. The God who brought kings to their knees, who silenced empires, who humbled the mighty and lifted the meek, is still at work. He has not overlooked your suffering. He has not dismissed your tears. And the very pride that made them believe they were untouchable will be the instrument of their fall. The story of life is written with this unshakable truth. God will break the pride of those who hurt the innocent. There are tears that fall in silence, tears that never reach the eyes of another human being. They soak the pillow at night, hidden from the world, because speaking them aloud feels useless or even dangerous. The innocent often live in this place. They are not loud in their suffering. They do not broadcast their pain to gain sympathy. Instead, they carry it quietly, hoping the world will change, praying that those who wounded them will one day see. And yet, even when no ear is listening, there is one who hears. God bends his ear to the cries that no one else acknowledges. This is one of the mysteries of divine love, that God takes notice of the pain the world dismisses. Think of Hannah in the scriptures, her lips moving but no sound escaping. To those around her she seemed drunk, foolish even, but God heard. The innocent may be overlooked, but heaven does not miss a single whispered prayer. The silent cries are recorded in the very heart of God. He treasures them, for they are pure cries, born not of malice but of wounded love. The proud believe silence is weakness. They mock those who do not fight back. They think their cruelty has no consequence because the victim did not retaliate. But what they forget is that silence in the presence of God is louder than all their shouting. The whisper of the innocent carries more weight before heaven than the roar of the arrogant. Every tear becomes a testimony. Every sigh becomes evidence. God keeps these records not to ignore them, but to respond at the right time. When you suffer in silence, you may feel abandoned. It may seem as though God Himself is distant. But silence is not the same as absence. God does not rush to act the way we expect Him to, but His slowness is not neglect. It is precision. He waits until the moment when justice will shine brightest, when His intervention cannot be mistaken for coincidence. The cry of the innocent is not wasted in the void. It rises like incense, and God holds it until the day He chooses to answer. Our pillar, leaders to joy mixed, come together as friends and harmonize, and let our mights think of the Israelites under the whip of Egypt. For years they cried out. Their cries did not echo empty against the sky. Scripture says plainly, God heard their groaning, and He remembered His covenant. He was not deaf to their suffering. He was preparing a deliverance so great that even their oppressors would have to acknowledge His hand. The same God who heard them hears you. Your tears are not invisible. Your quiet prayers are not ignored. Every cry that left your lips, and every word you could not even form, is written in His book. The proud may boast, "Where is your God now?" But their arrogance blinds them. God is closer to the innocent than they will ever understand. He does not need a trumpet blast to show His presence. He is there in the stillness, in the whisper, in the unseen comfort that holds you when you cannot hold yourself. And He is watching, taking note, promising that no wound inflicted upon the innocent will go unanswered. So when your voice feels too weak to rise, remember this: heaven has already heard it, and in God's timing, those tears you thought fell unnoticed will become the very reason He moves to defend you. Pride looks strong from the outside. It builds tall towers of influence, erects walls of arrogance, and lays stones of wealth and reputation. To the casual eye, it seems immovable, untouchable. But appearances deceive. Beneath all the boasting, beneath the grandeur of pride's house, there is no rock, only shifting sand. And when the storm comes, when God allows the winds to rise and the rain to fall, that house cannot stand. The proud often mistake their moment of success for permanence. They believe that because they prosper today, they will prosper forever. They mistake God's patience for His approval. But God is never fooled by the glittering exterior. He looks to the foundation, and He knows it will not last. Every cruel word spoken against the innocent, every deceitful act, every abuse of power adds weight to a house already unstable. The higher they build, the harder they will fall. Consider the image of Babylon, that great city described as indestructible, a marvel of its time. Its leaders thought themselves gods, untouchable in their splendor, but within a single night the empire was toppled, its pride shattered. The writing was on the wall, though they could not see it. So it is with those who wound the innocent. They may sit upon their thrones of pride, but the throne is carved from sand. The storm of God's justice does not announce itself in advance. It comes suddenly, and what seemed unshakable crumbles without warning. Pride deceives its own builders. They think they are securing themselves, but they are digging their own graves. For pride is not a fortress. It is a trap. It convinces a man that he is greater than he is, that his hands hold the future, that his cruelty will remain hidden. But the higher pride elevates, the greater the humiliation when it collapses. And collapse it will, because God himself resists the proud. He does not allow arrogance to endure indefinitely. Pride is rebellion against his order, and rebellion cannot stand in his presence. When he moves to expose it, the proud find themselves stripped of their false coverings. Wealth cannot buy escape. Influence cannot silence truth. Arrogance cannot stop the hand of God. The sand gives way and the house falls. Meanwhile, the innocent, the ones who seemed powerless, are preserved. They are the ones who built their lives on humility, on faith, on trust in God's unseen strength. While the proud mocked their foundation as weak, it is that very foundation that keeps them standing when the storm arrives. For humility is rock, but pride is sand. So if today you see the proud rising, do not be deceived. Do not envy their false strength. Their house may tower high, but it is not safe. The very weight of their arrogance is working against them. The rains are coming, the winds are near, and when they fall, the world will see clearly that pride was never a fortress. It was only sand. One of the cruelest lies whispered to the hearts of the innocent is that they are forgotten. When you are mistreated, when your kindness is repaid with scorn, when your love is disregarded as weakness, it is easy to believe the world has overlooked you, and worse, that perhaps even God has turned his face away. The proud want you to believe this. They want you to think your silence, your gentleness, and your tears have been wasted. They want to convince you that no one cares, that no one sees, and that no one will ever defend you. But nothing could be further from the truth. God has always had his eyes upon the innocent. Throughout history, he has shown himself as the protector of the vulnerable, the defender of the pure in heart, the one who lifts up the broken and the voiceless. The world may cast them aside, but God treasures them. They are his hidden jewels, unseen by men but precious in his sight. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, imprisoned unjustly. To all appearances, he was forgotten, not only by his family, but by the very people he helped. And yet, not once was he outside of God's watchful care. Every step into deeper darkness was, in truth, a step closer to the light of his destiny. God had not forgotten him. He was preparing him. What others meant for harm, God turned into the very pathway to glory. In the same way, when you are innocent yet harmed, you must understand this. You are written on the palm of God's hand. He does not lose track of you in the crowd. He does not overlook your pain in the busyness of the world. He remembers every detail, the very things that others dismissed as insignificant. The kindness no one repaid, the love no one valued, the sacrifice no one acknowledged. God records, and in his time he will repay, not with the empty applause of men, but with blessings that silence the mockery of the proud. The proud may rise quickly, but their glory fades like grass. The innocent may seem overlooked, but they are like seeds planted deep in the soil, hidden for a season, but destined to rise in beauty. God specializes in remembering what others forget. The tears that dried on your cheek long ago, the prayers you whispered and thought unanswered, none of them have vanished. They are stored in heaven's account, waiting for the moment when God turns them into your vindication. So never mistake silence for abandonment. You are not forgotten. If the whole world passes you by, still God remembers. And when he chooses to reveal his remembrance, no one will be able to deny that his favor has always been upon you. There is a law written into the fabric of existence. Pride cannot endure. It is not only a moral truth, but a spiritual certainty. Just as gravity pulls down anything that rises without support, so pride ensures its own collapse. The scriptures declare, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." It is not a suggestion, not a warning that might come true, it is a guarantee. The proud often mistake delay for immunity. They believe that because they are not struck down immediately, their cruelty has gone unnoticed. They mistake God's patience for His approval, but what they do not see is that every arrogant word, every deceitful action, every harm inflicted upon the innocent is a step closer to their downfall. Pride plants seeds of destruction in its own soil, and those seeds always grow. Look through history and the pattern is clear. Empires that thought themselves eternal crumbled into dust. Kings who declared themselves gods were humbled into the grave. Leaders who gloried in their cruelty left behind legacies of shame. Pride cannot sustain itself. It may roar for a season, but its end is always silence. The proud build tall walls around themselves, convinced they are untouchable. But those very walls become their prison. Their arrogance blinds them to wisdom. Their cruelty blinds them to truth, and eventually they trip over the very stones they stacked in their own defense. Pride is self-destructive by nature. It is like a fire that burns brightest just before it consumes itself completely. This should give comfort to the innocent, for though the proud may laugh today, though they may walk with heads high and voices loud, their fall is nearer than they realize. God will not allow arrogance to mock His justice forever. The innocent may be asked to endure for a time, but their endurance is never wasted. For every moment the proud seem to prosper. Their pride is fattening itself for the day of judgment. Think again of Pharaoh, whose heart was hardened against the cries of the oppressed. He strutted in arrogance, declaring himself greater than the God of Israel. But in the end, his pride led him into the waters that swallowed him whole. The higher he exalted himself, the deeper he fell. Such is the fate of all who raise their hands against the innocent. So when you see the proud standing tall, do not be deceived. Their collapse is written into the story. Their arrogance has already sown the seeds of their destruction. God does not need to strike them with sudden wrath. He simply allows their own pride to undo them. And when the fall comes, it comes swiftly, leaving no doubt that pride was their undoing. The fall of the proud is not a question of if, it is only a matter of when. One of the greatest struggles for the innocent is not only enduring the wounds inflicted by the proud, but also enduring the waiting. It feels unbearable to watch those who caused harm walk freely, their laughter unbroken, their arrogance unchallenged. The heart cries out for justice now, for vindication today, for an end to the suffering this very moment. And yet God does not always move according to our urgency. He works according to His wisdom, and His wisdom is perfect. This delay often feels cruel to us, but it is not neglect, it is strategy. God sees beyond the surface. While we see only the present wound, He sees the entire story unfolding. He knows when the moment will come that justice will have its greatest impact. His timing is not designed to torment the innocent, but to magnify the power of His hand. If He moved too soon, it would be mistaken for coincidence. If He delayed too long, hope would wither. But in His sovereignty, He arrives at the exact moment when the proud cannot deny His judgment, and the innocent cannot deny His faithfulness. Consider the story of Mordecai and Haman. Mordecai, faithful and righteous, was overlooked and despised, while Haman's pride flourished unchecked. Haman built gallows for Mordecai, determined to see him destroyed. To anyone watching, it must have seemed as though evil had the upper hand, and yet, at the perfect time, God reversed the story. The very gallows Haman built became the tool of his own downfall. Justice was not delayed, it was perfectly orchestrated. The delay allowed the contrast to be sharp, the vindication undeniable. So it is with your story. You may think God has waited too long, that he has let the proud enjoy their spoils while you sit in pain. But what if the delay is the very thing preparing the ground for your vindication? What if each passing day is God aligning the pieces, ensuring that when he acts, no one can deny it was him? We live in time, measuring moments by hours and days, but God dwells in eternity. He is never rushed, never late, never imprecise. His justice is not reactionary, it is intentional. The proud mistake this delay as proof that they are safe. They say in their hearts, "Nothing has happened to me yet, therefore nothing ever will." But this is their blindness. They do not realize that God's silence is not approval. It is mercy giving them time to repent, and if they refuse, it becomes rope by which they hang themselves. His patience is a warning, not a pardon. And when the moment comes, they will discover that his judgment was not delayed, it was reserved. The innocent, too, are tested in this waiting. God uses the delay to deepen faith, to strengthen trust, to purify motives. Waiting is not wasted, it transforms the heart, anchoring it not in instant results, but in eternal hope. And when the breakthrough finally comes, it shines all the brighter against the darkness of delay. So if today you feel caught in the waiting room of God's justice, take heart. His timing has never failed. He has not forgotten you. He is preparing a moment so precise, so powerful, that when he breaks the pride of those who hurt you, both you and the world will know it was his hand, and his hand alone. There is a strange and beautiful paradox woven through the ways of God. Those who are broken by cruelty are often the very ones chosen to be blessed beyond measure. The proud believe they have won when they wound the innocent. They think the harm they inflict will destroy, diminish, or silence. But God, in his infinite wisdom, turns brokenness into the soil where blessings grow. What was meant to crush becomes the very foundation of strength. The innocent, after all, do not lose themselves in suffering. They are pressed down, yes, but not destroyed. Their hearts may ache, but their spirits remain tethered to something deeper than pride or power, the love of God. And it is precisely in their weakness that his strength is revealed. When the proud take and tear, God restores and multiplies. When the proud strip dignity away, God clothes the innocent in honor. Think of Job, whose life was shattered not because of guilt but because of his faithfulness. He was stripped of wealth, family, and health. His friends mocked him. His wife told him to curse God and die. To any observer, Job was broken beyond repair. But in God's plan, Job's brokenness was not his end. It was his preparation. At the appointed time, God restored him double for all he had lost. His name, once smeared with shame, was crowned with honor. The proud thought they had triumphed, but the broken man became the blessed man. This pattern repeats in countless lives. Joseph, who sat in prison forgotten, rose to sit in palaces. David, mocked as a shepherd boy, became a king. The disciples, scattered and afraid, became world changers after their brokenness was filled with the Spirit of God. Over and over again, the story is the same. Those the world deems crushed beyond hope are the ones God chooses to elevate. Why does he work this way? Because blessing given without brokenness becomes pride, but blessing born from brokenness becomes gratitude. The innocent who suffer are not hardened like the proud. They are softened, refined, made capable of carrying blessing without arrogance. They know what it is to lack, so they cherish abundance. They know what it is to be despised, so they honor others when they rise. They know what it is to be wounded, so they heal when they are restored. And when the blessing comes, it shines brighter because of the darkness that preceded it. The proud may mock now, but when the tables turn, their laughter dies in their throats. They are forced to watch as the ones they wounded are lifted high, not by human effort, but by divine favor. The broken become testimonies that God alone has the power to restore. So do not despise your brokenness. Do not believe the lie that what was taken from you is lost forever. In the hands of God, broken things are not discarded. They are remade into vessels of glory. The scars you carry will one day be the marks of blessing. The shame others tried to place on you will become the crown God places upon your head. And those who hurt you will see it, and their pride will crumble. Those who hurt you will see it, and their pride will crumble. For the story does not end in your breaking, it ends in your blessing. If there is one truth that echoes through all of Scripture and history, it is this: God delights in turning the story upside down. He takes the narrative the proud believed they had written and rewrites it in his own hand. Those who mocked are silenced, those who laughed are humbled, and those who were trampled underfoot are lifted high. The story does not end where the proud assumed it would, for God reserves the right to have the final word. The proud live as though their cruelty secures their victory. They smile as they betray, believing no one will ever expose them. They celebrate when they wound the innocent, thinking their actions will never be remembered. But God is the author of justice, and He never allows arrogance to have the last sentence. He is the one who exalts the humble and humbles the exalted. His hand turns defeat into triumph, loss into restoration, humiliation into honor. Consider the cross itself, the greatest example of God's reversal. The innocent son was mocked, beaten, and nailed to wood while the proud rejoiced. They believed they had won. They believed their power was permanent. And yet, on the third day, the very act that was meant to destroy became the foundation of eternal victory. The proud were exposed, and the innocent was glorified. What was meant for shame became the highest honor. What looked like the end was the beginning. In your life, the same principle holds true. The story that others thought was finished is not over. They may have written you off, declared you broken, dismissed you as defeated, but God has not signed the page. He is still writing. And when He reveals the next chapter, it will shock both you and those who hurt you. Because the way God works is not simply to heal your wounds, but to elevate you in such a way that the proud are forced to witness your restoration. The reversal of God is never subtle. It is not hidden in shadows. He brings it to light so that all may see. He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies, not behind closed doors. He makes the proud watch the very one they despised be honored. He does this not out of cruelty, but so the world knows it was His hand that rewrote the ending. Think of Esther, an orphan girl hidden in obscurity, raised by her cousin in exile. To the proud nobles of Persia, she was nothing. Yet God placed her in the palace, elevated her above the proud, and used her to save an entire nation. The very ones who plotted destruction were undone, and the innocent became the instrument of deliverance. This is how God works. He flips the script, and the powerless become the powerful. And so, when you feel that your story is sealed in sorrow, remember this truth: the author has not finished. God will turn the page. He will take what was written in cruelty and rewrite it with glory. And when He does, no proud man, no arrogant voice, no enemy of your soul will be able to deny it. For the God who breaks the pride of the wicked is the same God who crowns the innocent with honor. The God who crowns the innocent with honor. My friend, never be deceived by appearances. The proud may strut across the stage today, but their curtain will fall. Their laughter will fade, their boasting will crumble, and their power will slip through their fingers like sand. God has never been mocked, and he never will be. Those who hurt the innocent may believe they have triumphed, but their pride is already writing the script of their downfall. And you, the one who has been wounded, betrayed, overlooked, do not lose heart. You are not forgotten. Every tear, every sigh, every moment of pain has been seen and recorded by heaven. God has not abandoned you in the silence. He has been preparing your vindication. His timing is perfect. His justice is certain. And when he acts, he will not merely heal you, he will elevate you. Remember this. The story does not end with the proud. It ends with God. And when he turns the story upside down, the very people who mocked you will watch as he honors you. The tables will turn, the stage will shift, and the world will know that it was not your strength but his power that brought you through. So walk in faith, hold your peace, trust in his timing, because the God who breaks the pride of those who hurt the innocent is the same God who will lift you up in due season. And when that season comes, no power on earth, no scheme of man, and no weapon of pride will be able to stand against you.